If you've ever tried to build an emergency fund and thought, I'm doing this, so why do I still feel broke? This video is for you. Because most people don't fail at emergency funds because they're bad with money. They fail because they treat it like a giant savings challenge instead of a small automatic system that fills in the background. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build your emergency fund faster without feeling like you have to hate your life to do it. And I'll show you the exact point where most people accidentally stall out, even when they're making progress. Quick note, this is general education, not personal financial advice. You make the final call. Here's why emergency funds feel hard. For a lot of people, saving manually feels like a loss in the moment. It feels like I worked for this and now it disappeared. So the problem is not that you're lazy. The problem is that your system keeps asking you to make the same hard decision over and over again. That's why the goal is not to try harder. The goal is to remove the decision. That's how you build faster. Here's the full plan. We're going to build your emergency fund in 3 phases. Phase 1, build a starter buffer. Phase 2, build your 1-month cushion. Phase 3, scale to your full emergency fund target. And the whole thing runs on one simple rule. Pay yourself first in small automatic steps tied to payday. Now I'll show you exactly how to set that up. But first, we need to fix the biggest mindset trap. Your emergency fund is not an investment. It is not supposed to be exciting, and it is insurance. And insurance is built with boring consistency, not heroic deposits. Phase 1, build the starter buffer. Your first goal is not 3 months. Your first goal is a starter buffer, at least $500, ideally working toward $1,000. Why? Because the first small emergency is usually what knocks people off track. A car repair, a medical bill, a home fix, something annoying but normal. And when you don't have cash for it, it often turns into credit card debt, fees, or a balance that follows you into next month. So this first buffer is not small. It is your first layer of protection. Now, how do you build that without feeling broke? Use what I call the 2-lever method. Lever 1, 1 small automatic transfer. Lever 2, 1 temporary reversible cut. Not 10 cuts, not a whole new personality, just 1. Here's what that looks like. Set an automatic transfer for $25 per paycheck into a separate emergency fund account. If you get paid twice a month, that's $50 a month. If you get paid every 2 weeks, that's about $50 a month on average too. Now pair that with 1 temporary cut that frees up another $50 to $100 a month. That could be pausing 1 subscription, eating out 1 less time each week, cutting 1 impulse spending category, not forever, just until the starter buffer is in place. That's the key. You're not trying to become a different person. You're creating 1 automatic stream and 1 temporary boost. Phase 2, build your 1-month cushion. Once the starter buffer is there, your next goal is 1 month of bare bones expenses. Not your full lifestyle, not your fun budget, your survival number. Because for many people, 1 month is where the stress starts to come down. Now, the mistake people make here is waiting for motivation. Don't do that. Instead, increase your savings rate when a trigger event happens. The trigger event could be a raise, a tax refund, a bonus, a paid-off debt, or simply getting through a month with fewer money mistakes. Every time one of those happens, increase your automatic transfer by a small step. $10 more per paycheck, maybe 20. Small enough that your lifestyle barely notices. Big enough that your savings actually starts moving faster. Let's make this real. Say your bare bones expenses are $3,500 a month. That means your 1-month base target is $3,500. You might start at $25 per paycheck. Then when you hit $500 saved, raise it to $35. When you hit $1,000, raise it to $50. When you hit $2,000, raise it to $75. What we're doing here is training your cash flow. Small increases, low drama, no giant reset every month. That's why this works. You are not depending on motivation. You are upgrading the system. If you remember one sentence from this video, make it this. You do not build an emergency fund with 1 big deposit. You build it with 1 automatic system and small increases over time. Phase 3, scale to the full target. This is where people freeze because the number suddenly looks massive. 6 months of expenses, $15,000, $20,000, maybe more. So stop thinking in totals for a second. Think in timeline. Ask, what would I need to save each month to hit this goal in the next 12 months? Then ask, what about 24 months? What about 36? Because the timeline is adjustable. The system is what matters. For example, if your full target is $21,000 and you already have $2,000 saved, you still need $19,000. In 12 months, that would mean saving about $1,583 per month. For a lot of people, that's unrealistic. In 24 months, it drops to about $792 per month. And in 36 months, it drops to about $528 per month. Now it starts to feel more like a real plan instead of a fantasy target. That's the shift. You do not quit just because the first timeline is unrealistic. You stretch the timeline and keep the system running. And that brings us to the moment most people never see coming, the sabotage moment. A lot of people get to 1 or 2 months of savings, start feeling better, and immediately loosen everything up. They spend more, they stop the transfers, or they jump ahead too aggressively and forget that life is still life. Then the next emergency hits, the fund gets wiped, and they tell themselves, see, I can't do this. That is not proof the system failed. That is proof the emergency fund did its job. So here's the better rule. If your employer offers a 401k match, keep contributing enough to get it. That's still a priority because it's essentially free money. But beyond that, before you ramp up extra investing or lifestyle upgrades, build your starter emergency buffer first. And for many people, getting to 1 month of bare bones expenses makes the whole plan a lot more stable. Now let's make without feeling broke even more practical. Method 1, split direct deposit. If your employer allows it, send part of your paycheck directly into your emergency fund account. Even $50 per paycheck helps. If it never lands in checking, you're less likely to spend it. Method 2, the found money rule. Refunds, rebates, gifts, side income, random extra money. Until you hit your first month of bare bones expenses, send a percentage of that money to the emergency fund automatically. 50% is a simple rule. Method 3, the 1 category boost. Pick 1 spending category you can reduce for the next 90 days without making your life miserable. Just 1. For a lot of people, that's takeout, impulse shopping, or random miscellaneous spending. Track only that category. Then send the difference into the emergency fund. That is a lot easier than trying to budget your entire life perfectly. So here's the recap. If you're starting from zero, first build a starter buffer, then build your 1-month cushion, then scale toward your full target using automatic increases and a realistic timeline. Because the real goal is not to suffer your way into an emergency fund. The real goal is to make saving run quietly in the background while you live your life. If you watch my last videos, you now have the full emergency fund system, where to keep it, how big it should be, and how to build it faster without feeling broke. So here's your next step. Today, set the automatic transfer, even if it's $10. Because once it's automatic, you are no longer just trying to save. You are building a system. Now you know how to build your emergency fund without feeling broke. But building it is only half the system. The next step is putting that money in the right place so it stays safe, accessible, and still earns something. Tap the video on screen. Stop keeping your emergency fund in one place. Subscribe for the rest of the series, and I'll see you there.